Hello, my beautiful honeys. Welcome back to another video. I just realized I think for 3 weeks in a row I've been doing sit down videos, but it's okay. Vlogs are coming back real soon. I'm actually gonna be vlogging this whole entire week. So there you have it. But I think it's important that I'm doing these videos about agents. I feel like we're on a little bit of an agent train. Why? Because agents, I think, are actually expanding their rosters. I think there's a lot of agents that are kind of doing a clear out of rosters and whatnot. Not that they're like firing people or anything like that, but I know from a lot of my friends and from a lot of industry professionals, a lot of people have retired. Like I should say a soft retire. I think the strike for them pushed them into an area that they feel that they no longer want to do this anymore. They feel that it no longer fulfills them anymore. And that they feel that it kind of put them in a perspective where I don't think the acting is what they want anymore. Now, granted, the acting did change a lot as well, and I don't blame them because there are things that the strike has done where I'm a little bit afraid of where the next 5 years is gonna be in this industry. And there's things that I feel that has changed that make it harder to now book, harder to get into the room. COVID has a huge part of it as well, and I think because of that, agents are now kind of not having those actors, they're leaving, and now they have room to gain more people onto their roster. The other thing is, it is starting to get busy, and I will say that. Actually, I just had an audition for a feature film. I really want it. Like, this character was literally me manifesting that I booked this one. But besides that, it is getting busy. Even my coach, when I did a session with him about this feature film, he was like, this whole week has been crazy. He's like, all my students have been calling me being like, I need a coaching session, I need a coaching session, I need a coaching session. And so it is getting up there, guys. Like, you know, you just have to hang on. I know January is a bit of a slow month and that's fine, but I think February and March, oh my God, I think we're gonna be back in business. So this is a perfect time to start thinking your agents, getting in with an agent, or we're gonna talk about the other way. You already have an agent and you've had one, let's say for a year or more. When is it a good time to change your agent or leave your agent? Let's get into it. I've realized that I've talked a lot on my channel about how to get into the industry and how to get an agent, but I want to start thinking and talking about things when you've already been in the industry and you're like stagnant or you're stuck. Why? Because I know that feeling. I'm in there with you. It can happen and it can really creatively just make you feel down. And it's hard to get out of that state sometimes. So what are things that you can do? And one of them can sometimes be your agent. Now, I would not sit here and blame your agent for everything, the reason of why you're not booking. That's not the case. It's usually a 50-50 thing. It can be you that you're maybe not putting out good tapes. Maybe you got to go back to class and work on a few things. It could be that your look isn't working or the look that you have on your headshots does not match what you're putting out in your self tapes. Like there's a million things as an actor you could be doing, which is why you are not able to go forward. Yes, but an agent does have a lot of play in it as well. And sometimes it comes to a point where you have to say goodbye to the agent or the agency and start on a new journey with someone new. And that it's very scary. Don't get me wrong. I've been there before. I cried for like 10 days straight and I had like 6 therapy sessions. I get it. But it is a good change because the change can really help you. And yes, it is a risk. I think this entire industry is a risk, and there's gonna be times where you're gonna do things that you're unsure of, and that's fine. This is what the industry is like, but this is really good. Getting a new agent and leaving your agency can be a good thing or a bad thing. It can be a bad thing if you have a bad relationship with your agent. It can end not necessarily well. It can be a bad, and I'm saying a bad thing as if like it just sucks. Like the relationship wasn't working, your agent's mean to you, you don't have a good relationship, your agent's not listening to you, and it's just not working. But it can also be a good thing. I know of people who have left their agent on good terms and there was no ill intent behind the leaving. There was no like repercussions. There was no like, there's nothing bad for the reasoning of the leaving. Sometimes you just want a different agent. You just want to change and that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Like it's just like having a relationship. Sometimes you just fall out of love with someone. There's nothing wrong with the person. You just fell out of love and you end up leaving each other on great terms and you still, you know, stay acquaintances or friends or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean that the breakup was bad. It actually was a good thing and it was beautiful. And that can also happen when it comes to agents. I'm going to talk about the good part a little bit first of like when you've had a good relationship with your agent and you think it's time. I think a lot of people get caught in this. Why? Because, well, It's evident. If it's a good relationship, why would you want to leave? Listen, you could have a great relationship with your agent, but something could just not be working. Like you've known them for 5-6 years and maybe you just feel that the relationship's just like a flat line. It's stagnant. You're not really kind of moving anywhere. Nothing new is exciting happening. The so-called honeymoon phase has left with your agent, and that's okay. That's very normal and that can happen, and there's nothing bad about it. You might just need to shake things up a little and find a new agent. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying like all of a sudden like send an email and be like, I'm out, see you. You want to try always all the possible steps in order to get that sort of like shake up back in the relationship before you finally make the decision to leave. I would have a meeting with your agent 100%, whether it be in person or over Zoom. Call them up, take them out for a cup of coffee and just say, hey, listen, I want to talk about this last year. And you want to come into that meeting, honeys, with like concrete examples of like what happened in the year that prompts you to have this meeting. And it's very scary, but you got to be honest. Like you just have to be like, I just feel that we're kind of not moving anywhere. I feel that we're sort of stuck on the same line, and I feel that I need to kind of shake things up. And you could see how the way they react. If they feel like nothing's happening, if they feel like they don't want to move anything, well, then that right there is already your answer. And you like, that's it, you got it. But you want to execute all possibilities in order before you kind of make this jump of leaving your agency. The other thing is you will know whether it's bad or good when it is time to leave. You will just feel it. Like you'll just kind of be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like it's just same thing when you're in a relationship with someone, I don't want to date you anymore. Like you don't want to be in this relationship with this agent. It is just not happening for you. You just don't want it to happen, and that's fine. And you will just like, it will just hit you on the inside where you're like, I think it's time for me to really just disengage. And that's the route that I'm going to be taking instead. A lot of times it can happen with agents where you don't become on the same page. You start off on the same page and then you kind of move towards different directions. It's very possible. There are sometimes actors and artists that want to solely only do indie films, and the agent doesn't want that. There are actors that never want to be union, but this agent's like, I want you to be union. Like these are like simple things like this can put the agent and the client on two different sides of the spectrum, and then which is why can prompt the not getting along or not seeing eye to eye, or maybe not getting auditions. Like this is very possible. Again, a meeting would be a great way for you to sit and chat and just kind of check in to be like, what's going on with us? Why are we not seeing eye to eye? Like, why are we not on the same page? Yes, also your agent can stop caring about you. It is very possible. It has happened to me. It has happened to everyone. Sometimes when you don't book for a while, your agent kind of puts you on a back burner, and that's fine. It's a business. You have to see it that way. You cannot take it personally because it's a business. They don't make money unless you book things and then they make money. So if you're not making money for them, they're going to start kind of putting you off to the side. Now, I don't want you to take this to heart and sit here and like really like be down about yourself. No, that's not the case. I think this is, again, a time for you to have a meeting with them and see what can you do that's different to get them back on your corner. It could be maybe you haven't done classes in 2 years. Got to get yourself into class. Maybe you haven't updated your headshots in 5 years. Like I know actors who've literally had the same headshots that they've had since university. Well, you clearly don't look like that. I graduated in 2018 and it's 2024. So having a meeting and chatting with them, they can tell you like, listen, you got to get a new set of headshots because you don't look like this anymore. Let's change up maybe the look. Let's maybe cut your hair or do this or that. Like let's freshen things up. And you having a meeting with your agent will a lot of the time be able to find what the issue is. When I didn't book for almost like 2 years with the current agent that I have now, I remember this is like a year ago, I called up a meeting and I was kind of freaking out because I was like, what is going on? And I was like, I was by the book doing everything correctly. I would get headshots new every year and a half. I then recently went and dyed my hair ginger, had new hair, blah, blah, blah. And I remember my agent gave me really comforting advice, and they were just kind of like, listen, I'm not worried about you because you're good. You got what it takes and you're producing great work. I just think it's just not your time. And I just think that the role was not fitting to who you are, and that role will be there and it will come. That also can very well be the possibility for you as well. I've heard this, and it's true that sometimes, and I've heard people say this, which really pisses me off, but I'm 27, so I'm in like my kind of like right in between in my like late 20s. And sometimes when you get to that age, you kind of look like you're in half. Like you're too old to be playing 18, but you're too young to be playing like a mother role. So you're kind of like And that can happen, and that's fine. You just gotta take some time. You gotta wait it out another year or two. Your face will change, and then all of a sudden you will be looking either probably more older than you would younger, but you will then start to kind of be able to be put in a category, and that can happen, and that's okay. Just take some time. But these conversations are important to have with your agent, because once you have them with your agent, you will be able to see the picture of what they're talking about, and then it will help you figure out like, where do I go from here? And sometimes after the meeting, you don't even have to leave your agent. You can just see that, oh, I needed a meeting. I needed to check in with them and have a good conversation. And now I know where to move forward into revamping myself. One thing you want to remember, now this is more of like the bad thing. Your agent should never make you feel that they are intimidating. Your agent should never make you feel that you're smaller than them or that they own you. This is not they're a boss and you're an employee. Like, this is not one of those. Like, this is a partnership. This is a two-way street. This is 50-50. Like, there is none of this like, I tell you what to do, and if you don't do it, that's it. Like, this whole threatening crap, sorry. Like, if your agent is like this, where you've asked for meetings, they're not giving it to you. You have constantly emailed them and they're not answering you. You have tried to pick up the phone and actually call them and they don't care. Like, if they clearly are not there whatsoever, then it is time to leave. It is not going to change. And let me tell you this, when I was trying to leave my previous agent because I had a bad relationship with them and it wasn't working and it was just really bad, I remember that the days that I was like, this is it, all of a sudden, it's like energetically, this agent remembers you and they send you an audition. Okay, great. But that was like my only audition you sent me in like 6 months. It's not gonna happen. If it's not working now, it's definitely not gonna be working 1, 2, 6, whatever months or years from now. It's not happening. It is time for you to leave. This is where you send them a nice email and you let them know thanks for the few, whatever year, 2 years, whatever you've been with them, and you wish them luck and you kind of end the contract and you go from there. The other thing is you do want to remember is you want to look at the contract and read about what it is, how you can leave, like all that kind of stuff, because sometimes if you signed a contract, they may not let you leave until the contract is ending. So if you sign with them in September, you might actually have to wait till September to leave them. You want to make sure you read about all of that before you send the email. So go back to the contract. You should have it by email. Read through it in the section that it talks about that kind of stuff. The other thing you want to remember is not trying to leave your agent during a very busy time, because there are agents out there that are vindictive and they like to do really mean things. And they will basically be like, sure, but I'm gonna hold you for 60 days and you are going to be with them for those 60 days. And during those 60 days, they will not submit you for anything because they're being vindictive. And then you just miss 2 months of, like, let's say June and July are busy months of no auditions because they did not submit you. And then you sign with a new agent, but at that point it's kind of that the big season is over. So now you have to wait next year. So you want to make sure that when you're also leaving them, you're doing this at the correct time. So if you feel that your agent is this kind of person because you don't have the greatest relationship with them, just find a time when you're not, if you are going to be held with them for 60 days, you're not going to be missing big moments in the industry as well. If you feel that you have not had any auditions from your agent whatsoever, and it is not a you thing, like you have truly stellar headshots, you have a great demo, like you got the bang for the bucks, you got the whole package, and for someone, whatever reason, you're not getting your auditions, what you can do, you can ask for the meeting, obviously, but besides that, you can ask for something called a submission list. A submission list is basically a list of things that they have submitted you for, let's say, for the last 6 months, or for the year, or for the time being that they've been with you. Now, it is like this unspoken rule that when you do ask for a submission list from an agent, it is kind of a little bit like questioning them and questioning their work ethic, whether they've like done their work by submitting you. So I wouldn't just like casually text them on a Sunday and be like, hey, happy Sunday, how you doing? Can I see my submission list? Like, you don't wanna do that. If you're gonna do it, I think this needs to be a conversation that you're like having in a meeting to be like, hey, I'm curious, like what are the things that you've submitted me for, just so I can see like what you see me as casting or whatever. Like, you wanna word it in a way where you're not like kind of jabbing at them and like coming at them in a way of like, you haven't done shit for me, so I want to know what you've submitted me for, because that can also result in a little bit of an issue, and you don't want to do that. Now, if they don't want to give you the submission list and they don't want to tell you anything about the submission list, well, then that right there should tell you that should right there tell you that either A, they have never submitted you on anything, which is why they don't have a submission list, or B, if they don't want to give it to you, like, it makes no sense. Giving a submission list literally means nothing to them. So if they don't want to give it to you, then bye-bye, see see Hasta La Vista, that's not an agent for you at all. Now, if you have gotten a submission list for them and you've been submitted, it means that you are not able to get into the room. There's something that casting isn't picking up on about you, and that's why you're not getting the room. Now that could prompt another conversation with your agent and be like, okay, I've been submitted. Why am I not getting into the room? It could be that maybe your headshots make you look older than you are, but then you're not that old. You're 18, but they make you look 35. I had headshots. Actually, my first set of headshots, I literally looked like I was a 35-year-old, but I'm not kidding you, I was 19 years old. I was like competing with people that are like seasoned actors, and I'm like fresh, still in theater school. Like I was never getting anywhere with that. So that's another conversation you can have with your agent to be like, where is this happening and what's going on and why am I not getting into the room? That could honestly be more of a you thing than it is a them thing. But the submission list is something that you can definitely open up a conversation and kind of gauge where it would be the right way to go with your agent. Honeys, I hope this video helps you when you are kind of dealing with this kind of stuff. I've actually had a few clients reach out to me, ask like, how do I do this? Like, how do I not ruin all my possibilities? And like I said, try all the routes before you depart. Like really try to hone in on all the meetings you possibly can and all the options you have before you do the leaving. And when you do it, just do it in a smart way. Don't be mean, obviously. Don't call names and don't like blow up. Be very professional because again, agents talk. This is a very small industry, even though it's huge. People know everybody. It's like, it's kind of insane how everyone's connected. So just be smart about how you're doing this because you still always want to have a good reputation for yourself. But besides that, I love you all. And well, I have a video. Yes, I'm going to have a video next week, but the week after I won't. But I'll tell you all about that in my next video. Okay. I love you, honeys, and I'm going to see you all next Friday. Bye.